Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Watchers live stream for June 17th, 2026. Hope you're all doing well today. You might notice that I am by myself this week. And that is because Kevin had an issue that came up at work and needed to cover someone. So he's out saving some lives, or at least helping people with medical issues. So he is going to be not here for the live stream tonight, but we do miss him, and hopefully he's able to kind of watch in the background or something. But hope you're all doing well. Of course, my name is Garrett, and I am one of your co-hosts, the only one doing it tonight. So hope you are doing very, very well. But let's just kind of dive into the stuff today because we got a lot to talk about. And up first, the Department of Justice here in the United States has approved the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. Of course they did. You know, the Supreme Court's controlled by the Tangerine, tyrants crew. So, of course, this was going to get pushed through. But this is just another step on the road to it actually becoming a reality, which kind of sucks. So we'll see if it ends up coming through. There's a lot of protests and a lot of boycotts that are being organized, and we'll see if it still happens. But that is, of course, happening. Up after that, unfortunately, Davey, or Devi, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Chase has passed away. This is the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, the original animated film, and on a couple of other film roles. She was 35, so only 3 years older than I am, and passed away. Didn't see why. There was no information included in the post I saw, so unfortunately, this is some bad news to share this week. But up after that, Disclosure Day, which released on Friday this last week, is Spielberg's biggest opening since Ready Player One. It took number one at the box office, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And it's pretty big for the film. So, it's good. Hopefully it'll make its budget back. And hopefully this doesn't, spell doom for Spielberg in any way. I don't think it will. He's one of the best and biggest directors of all time, so I don't think it'll really impact him all that much. So, but next up, Toy Story 5's reviews are good, and it is debuting to a 74% on Metacritic and a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty good. It seems right in line with the fourth movie. I think that from what I've been seeing with all the reviews, people just like it. It doesn't seem to be as kind of well loved as the third one or any kind of one before. But I still think the movie looks good. It looks emotional. So we'll have to wait and see this weekend. I plan on seeing it this weekend. Next up, Fox has bought Roku for $22 billion. I didn't know Roku was worth that much money, to be completely honest. But this means that Fox now controls Roku and its assets. No idea what this means as far as the actual hardware. If people still buy Roku sticks or boxes or the built-in things on people's TVs, no one really knows. Hopefully this doesn't kind of get some sort of lawsuit just because, a studio controlling a company that not only produces but distributes content and makes TVs, because there's Roku TVs. Who knows what that means for the industry. So we'll see how this ends up going. And in another purchase piece of news, Netflix is reportedly interested in buying Lionsgate, which, makes sense. Lionsgate has been having a really tough time lately. Last year, they had pretty much all their movies were flops. And everything this year hasn't done that well either. So I think that if Netflix were to buy that company and use its assets to its own productions, I think it could potentially work. And then that gets the franchises that Lionsgate has access to. So who knows? We'll see if that ends up happening and where that ends up going. Next, Sean Penn will be reportedly directing a film about the January 6th terrorist attack on the United States Capitol, with Bradley Cooper to star as a police officer caught up in the attack. I think this is great. Need to shine a light more on how those people were traitors, and hopefully it takes that route, because Sean Penn is, typically on the right side of things politically, not the immoral side. He's on the good side. So we'll see how that goes. And lastly, Mike Myers has confirmed that a fourth Austin Powers movie is in the works. I don't think we need this. I don't like those movies to begin with very much, so I don't think we need this. But if Scary Movie and Naked Gun are any indication, it's that people are dying for those kinds of comedy franchises again. So who knows what that means? We'll have to wait and see when we get any more news. But that is it for all the news stories this week. I don't even know what you're talking about anymore, Fox Pixar. The airplane twister has not even been a topic we're discussing. I don't get it. Anyhow, all right. So no new kind of releases on streaming that I saw this week. So nothing added to that for the stories. But we do have some trailers that came out this week, and the biggest one just released this morning, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that trailer is looking real good. Hopefully that movie is going to be as good as the trailers make it seem. Also, we got trailers for... Oops, I misspelt one of them. Excuse me. My apologies. But we also got a trailer for... we got Shrek 5, which... I'm going to be honest, I think Shrek 5 looks absolutely terrible, not only because the animation style hasn't been improved like we thought it was going to be when they delayed the movie, just the story. Whatever we get in the trailer just does not look good. It looks... I don't know how to describe it. It looks dark and twisted and unfunny. Like, it just... None of it radiated that Shrek energy to me. I don't know what it was. I really think it was the animation. The animation is terrible in that new trailer. I mean, specifically the designs, I think, are the problem. But also we got a trailer for The Last House, which looks really interesting. Two great actors with Wagner Moura and Greta Lee having to be stuck in a house with their kids. The house will not let them leave for some reason, which is a really interesting concept. And I also think Hexed looks pretty good. The new Disney animated film coming out, I believe, early next year or later this year. Basically their attempt at a Harry Potter-like scenario. So who knows? But that's really the big trailers that came out this week. Up next, we have the box office. And like I mentioned earlier, Disclosure Day opened up at number 1 with $44.5 million here in the US, followed by Scary Movie with $19 million in its second weekend, Obsession getting in $14.2 million in its third week, its fifth week. Backrooms coming in with $11.5 million, and Masters of the Universe continuing its flop run at $8.9 million, which is sad because I've heard some really good things about Masters of the Universe. So, but kind of surprising that Obsession kind of went on top of Backrooms again. The word of mouth on Obsession is just so good at this point that I think we're going to see this movie in the top 5 for at least another 2 weeks. I think they're going to keep this rolling as long as they can, get as much money out of it, and I really think we're going to see an award season push for it. Backrooms is really kind of falling off in its third or fourth week here. Not too surprising. I think that all the people who were really excited about that movie went to it in its first weekend and helped it achieve those records, and then maybe have gone back to see it again, but who knows? But that is it for the box office. But let's go ahead and talk about the movies that are coming out this weekend. And up first is Toy Story 5. Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they're introduced to electronics, a new threat to playtime. I've been excited about this concept since they announced the movie, and I knew that it was going to be something that is going to hit really close to home for parents these days, especially since the parents of kids that are getting addicted to technology are my age, who grew up with the original movies and grew with them. So this is going to be something really interesting. Hopefully it is any good and fits in with the rest of the films. I am really excited to see Conan in this movie because apparently he is one of the best additions to it. So, but let's go ahead and get to the second one, which is The Death of Robin Hood, which I'm really excited about. Grappling with his past after a life of crime and murder, Robin Hood finds himself gravely injured after a battle he thought would be his last. In the hands of a mysterious woman, he is offered a chance at salvation. This coming out a much more dark and grounded gritty look at Robin Hood, actually more in line with the real legend, which is a lot more violent and criminal than a lot of people give it credit for. We really prop him up as a hero when he was, the original legends were very violent. So this looks more realistic, and I'm really excited for this. I'm definitely going to go see it this weekend. Up after that is Leviticus, the newest kind of neon art housey kind of horror movie, kind of in the line of Obsession and films like that. But two teenage boys must escape a violent entity that takes the form of the person they desire most, which is each other. So this is something really cool. The reviews are really pretty darn good for this. It's got an 84 on Metacritic, which is right about the same as Obsession. So we might see a film along the same lines of Obsession here. Hopefully it gets some good word of mouth and becomes really popular because it looks really good. And then I think it'll have a chance at being pretty successful. And up after that, the last one is Girls Like Girls, which I had seen this trailer or poster in the theaters a lot. But this film is about Coley, 17, from rural Oregon, navigates intimacy after her mother's passing. Meeting Sonia sparks new feelings, but self-doubt hinders their connection. Sonia, unfamiliar with dating girls, is uncertain. They learn to embrace emotions. It looks like a coming-of-age comedy or coming-of-age romance kind of film. It looks pretty good from the trailers, so if it's going to be playing near me, I definitely plan on checking it out. So that is it for everything that is scheduled this week. So every kind of like not scheduled, but kind of like the script. Now we get to have fun and get to the unscripted stuff. So yeah, take a quick drink here. Got to remain hydrated. But let's go ahead and take a look at today's Flickle. Let me go ahead and get this pulled up here real quick. So let's see if we can figure out what this week's Flickle is. Let's go ahead and find out. I actually don't know from this first thing, and I can't quite tell. We'll go ahead and skip to the next one.
Patient brought in with chills, nausea, ischemia, clearly in shock.
Did you do a CBC?
Excuse me. Patient brought in with chills, nausea, ischemia,
Oh, okay. I think this is the one with Anne Hathaway. Friends with Benefits. No.
You're a superstar. Confidence is king.
Okay. I believe this. Okay, yeah, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. It is the one with Anne Hathaway and Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, and it's killing me right now. Is it not Friends with Benefits? I'm gonna have to go one more. Yeah, okay. It is the one I'm thinking of. I just can't think of the name, and it is driving me nuts. It's not No Strings Attached. It's something different. It was like medical related. This is gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna have to skip it. Love and Other Drugs. Dang it. Yeah. I had the movie. I just could not remember the title for the life of me. That bugs me. That bugs me. All right. But that was Flickle. Probably one of the hardest ones we've done in a while. But let's go ahead. We're going to go to Framed. Doing all these in honor of Kevin, since he can't be here today. So, this looks like some sort of horror movie. It almost reminds me of Passenger, but I don't think that it is. It's not even in the list, so I'm going to go ahead and submit. Okay, Climbing with Something. This is definitely not an American city. Okay. I have no idea. Oh, it's a Korean movie. Decision to Leave, a movie that I have not actually seen yet. So that was another hard one. I don't think Kevin would have got that either. So it's okay. We're 0 for 2 right now. But let's go ahead and get to the last one, which is going to be Movie Grid. This is our part of our weekly movie games. Let's go ahead and see here. All right, so we got Natalie Portman with a double-letter word in the title, released from 1985 to 2005, released from 2006 to now. So double word in the title, double-letter word in the title would be Attack of the Clones. So we'll do that. Released from 1985, we're going to do Mars Attacks. She's the daughter of the president in Mars Attacks. And then we'll do Black Swan for that one. Oops, not Black Swan, Black Swan. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. All right, so that's Natalie Portman done. Tom Cruise, the double-letter word in the title. We'll just do Mission Impossible. That's easy. Released from 1985 to 2005. We'll just do Rain Man for that one. And then we'll do Mission Impossible Fallout for that one. Alrighty, Julia Roberts, double-letter word in the title. This is where things are going to get a little bit harder. Ocean's 13. Actually, we're going to do that. We'll do that. Oh. Because it had a number? Okay, weird. We'll do here then. Ocean's 13. She's in those. What the heck is going on? I mean, Aaron Brockovich, but like, why? What was I wrong? Pretty Woman. Oh, okay. I guess there's other ones. Weird. Alrighty. Well, we did all right on that one, so that one's not that bad. I'll take it. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and change up everything here. Go ahead and get the music changed here. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the movies we watched over the course of the last week. This is the part of the show we love to do. If Kevin was here, he'd be having a great time. But I mean, I'm having a great time. But it's less of a great time because Kevin's not here. So let's go ahead and talk about these movies. We'll go ahead and just get to my non-Wheelspin stuff before we get into the Wheelspin stuff, because Kevin only watched his Wheelspin movie in short this week. So we'll kind of match those up with mine. But up first for me, first movie I watched this week was a mistake, and that was Holmes and Watson, the Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly comedy movie where they tried to follow up their success with Step Brothers with a tale about Sherlock Holmes, and it is terrible. I can't think of another word. It is just truly that bad. It is that unfunny. This was free on YouTube, and it was like a day I was just looking for something to watch, so I went on YouTube, and it was the first available movie for free that I hadn't seen before. So I put it on, and I remember people absolutely destroying this movie when it first came out. And rightly so. This is one of the worst comedy movies I've ever seen. I do want to give this film 2 points, though. And I'm going to give it 2 points for Ray Fiennes, who plays the evil Dr. Moriarty in this one. And he looks like he's just trying his best. I think he clearly did this because maybe he likes Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in their movies, and maybe he just wanted to work with them. Who knows? But he's the best part of this movie. And, the rest of the cast, though, clearly feels and looks like they're having a terrible time. There's no joy. There's no humor to this movie. And it's devoid of any kind of sense or sensibility. Ferrell and Reilly are pretty good together, usually. I would say Step Brothers is the top of that. I'm not a big fan of Talladega Nights, but I know a lot of people are. I don't know why they thought this was the best thing to do. I don't know why they decided to do British accents like this, because they're not good. It's also just ugly, too. The production looks bad. The costumes, the writing, like everything just has such a lack of like quality or polish to it. It just feels incredibly childish. And I'm amazed that a movie like this was released when like things like Batgirl or Coyote versus Acme were canceled. I mean, luckily we're getting Coyote versus Acme, but you see what I mean? This should have been left on like the development room floor. This should not have gone anywhere. And I hated every minute of this. This movie sucks. Don't watch it. Next up, though, a movie that doesn't suck, and I would highly recommend you go to the theater to go and see this movie, is The Furious. This is the new kind of martial arts action movie that I didn't really know anything about. I just saw that it was getting some really high praise, especially last week when we were talking about the movies that were coming out. And so I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to go see this movie, what it's about, what it's got going on. And it's really good. It's a well-executed action movie with incredible fight scenes and some commendably great stunts. It really does feel like the actors are trying to seriously hurt each other. I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece, though. I don't think it's like the best action film of the decade by any means. It does feel like an odd combination of John Wick, a Jason Statham-esque political action movie, you know, like the ones where he's fighting kidnappers and traffickers and stuff, and then like a martial arts movie. Like it's a weird kind of mix of those, and it does work. And when it works, it really works. But the downsides are there, and I think the evidence for that is the story, which feels pretty weak. It does enough to get these characters together, and you know, it's just like, cool, the enemies are child traffickers. Why, you know, like that's child traffickers and Nazis are the two people you put in a movie, and they're immediately the villains no matter what. Like it just needed a little bit more depth and nuance to that. But that's where my gripes end. No, I had a giddy, childish smile on my face the entire time I was watching this movie. It's absolutely brutal. Like there are two fights in particular in this movie that just go on for so much longer than you think they should, and you don't care because it's fantastic the whole time. The action's awesome. Meow and Taslim are fantastic in this movie. Really, they're stunts, but also they do a pretty good job acting and kind of working off of each other. But is it realistic? No, but that's why it works. And these martial arts movies are better when they're not incredibly realistic. It's a perk of the genre in the action. So it's brutal, made me smile like a kid, and I would highly recommend seeing this movie in theaters because it was fantastic. Up after that, though, because I had bought this movie and never actually watched it, which is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original 1956 sci-fi horror movie. And I think this movie is excellent. I think it plays on the fears of the time beautifully, of kind of mistrust and paranoia of your neighbors and people around you. But sometimes it definitely does feel a little aged. I think it's a blast from the beginning, and you genuinely want to root for the main duo. The core idea behind the film is really strong, and it feels like an elevation of the kind of pulp magazine stories that it was based off of. It really feels like an elevation of those into something a little bit better. Like this feels like a longer Twilight Zone episode, and I say that as a compliment. I do also think like the Cold War stuff that it plays with is also really nice. But being as short as it is, it's only about like an hour 15, hour 20 minutes. I wish it would have played with the social fears a bit more, though. You know, I think that I think it should have left the reveals of what happens to people for later in the movie. In addition, I wasn't a fan of the constant narration. I think that kind of takes away from the film, but it was a kind of staple part of movies from the 50s, so it does make sense. But it is paced really well. You never feel bored throughout the entire film, and I enjoy how fast it moved. Performances are better than I would have expected from the 50s, but everyone feels pretty grounded, and even though the dialogue can get clunky sometimes, but it's a 50s movie, so you kind of give it some leeway. But it's a great film, and I'm so glad that I bought the 4K restoration. It looks really good in both kind of aspect ratio versions. So really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's one of the best 50s sci-fi movies, up there with Day of the Earth Stood Still, although I would say Day of the Earth Stood Still is a better movie. Alrighty, I'm going to take a quick little hydration break here. So good. Alrighty, but after watching The Furious, I was really curious. That rhymed. Because some of the actors were in this movie, The Raid, or sometimes as we see it in the US, The Raid Redemption, which makes no sense. It's just called The Raid. And this is one of the best action movies of all time. I had never actually seen this movie. I'd heard so much about it for so long, and then I was drawn to watch it after watching The Furious. And I'm late to the party here by doing this, but I think that it is a spectacular brawler film that does a really good job of setting up everything that happens throughout the movie and giving it a payoff. The fights are incredibly brutal, and like The Furious, it feels like these actors legitimately want to kill each other, and I think that heightens a lot of the tense moments and a lot of the stakes and a lot of the action. I think that its biggest flaw here is that it is from the pre-Wick era, which means that we are seeing the camera just cannot stop moving. No one on the crew decided to get a tripod and just put it flat so we could see things that happen. I will say, like, I don't get motion sick on rides or with anything like that, but I was getting a little bit here. I think that it moves way too much. But luckily it doesn't take too much away from the action scenes. It's more so in the quieter moments when the camera just can't stop like moving. Like, just put it on a tripod and you'll be fine. But Iko Uwai and the other actors do an incredible job with the martial arts in this movie. The violence is very brutal, and I very much appreciated that. It's not a film that's based on dramatic performances, but I do think the actors do a decent job of bringing kind of those kind of dramatic reveals and moments together well. The fights are genuinely exhausting, which I swear I mean is a compliment. And the actors, again, do a great job of selling every punch, every hit, every gunshot, everything. It's an awesome film with some incredible stunts and fights, and I highly recommend it. But I would also recommend taking some anti-nausea medication, especially if you get motion sick. Up after that, another free movie for me on YouTube was Westworld from 1973. This is the same Westworld that the TV show is based off of, and was directed by Michael Crichton, who is the author who gave us books like Jurassic Park and The Andromeda Strain and several others, one of my favorite authors of all time. And he directed this film about a vacation destination where you can go live out your dreams of being a Western hero in a kind of a West world. There's also like a medieval world and a Roman world. And the people who inhabit these worlds are robots that you can, make love to, you can shoot, you can kill, but you can't be affected until these robots start to go wrong. The concept is great, but I think that it begs for more exploration. This is where the show was better, kind of looking at how did machines and AI kind of become more sentient and get feeling? How did it get to that point? And other deeper issues. Here, it's just used as a way to create a boogeyman that chases our characters around. Granted, these are characters that we don't really care about. I do think that Yul Brynner, who plays the gunslinger in this movie, is the best part of it, and I do think that he's genuinely a pretty scary character. But the main characters we're supposed to be rooting for, I could care less. But I do think that the film is too short. I think that it needs to be longer to explore some more of this world. And I was actually really surprised to see we got a lot of medieval world and Roman world in addition to Westworld, which is fantastic. Also, there's a sequel to this movie called Future World, which I have not watched yet, but it is on YouTube. But I do think this movie is too short, and I think it brushes over things too quickly, but I do think that it is a pretty good movie that I would recommend. I did give it a 78. I enjoyed this movie. And I almost bought this kind of nice Arrow Video Collector's Edition the other day, but maybe we'll go get that on another paycheck. And lastly, I went with my mother to go see Disclosure Day because we're both huge Steven Spielberg fans. And I thought this movie was a good, not great follow-up to the rest of Spielberg's Alien movies. I think that it suffers from too many issues for me to be considered great. I do think that there's a whole storyline involving North Korea and South Korea that just feels tacked in for extra tension, but it didn't need to be there. Also, there's an entire character storyline who's the girlfriend of Josh O'Connor. That didn't make any difference. That did not need to be in the movie. It just kind of pads it out, and it makes the film feel longer than it needs to be. And then finally, the last 30 minutes of this movie is genuinely its best part. It is electrifying. It is so incredibly well conceived. The problem is that there is a newscast segment of it with an anchor who completely botched it. I don't know why they kept this person in. I don't know why they used her performance. It is one of the worst things I've seen all year. And I do think it took me out of that moment when it's supposed to be emotional and kind of tense. And she just immediately wrote me out of it. But those are my biggest criticisms because the rest of the movie is pretty darn good. The score from John Williams is fantastic. Spielberg's direction, and the performances from Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, and Coleman Domingo are all really good. I did enjoy watching them. I like how the film has comedic elements in addition to its tense, thrillery ones. And it doesn't force them. It feels natural to the characters and their situation. It also, the alien stuff is pretty cool. I mean, I think that is also what's kind of holding the movie back from being more successful, just because aliens aren't as popular as they used to be in terms of the kind of cultural zeitgeist. But this movie feels like a Spielberg movie. And I have to admit that I did tear up for the last 20 minutes of this movie, because it was like watching some of my favorite Spielberg movies again for the first time in the theater, which was just truly magical. It has that magic of a Spielberg movie, and I absolutely love that. So it is a good movie. It's not great. I do think it has a few too many issues to be considered one of his best films, but it does feel like a return to form in a lot of ways. So, good movie. I would recommend seeing it in theaters if you can. But that's it for my non-wheel spin stuff. Again, didn't watch too many this week. I feel like I've had a lot of other stuff going on, but, that happens. So, let me get another hydration break here. So good. So good. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Kevin's movies real quick. So Kevin's short that he got from the wheel spin was One Cab's Family from 1952. Kevin said that he really liked the short because it was fun and about cars and right up his alley. The animation is amazing, but really liked the characters about kids growing up and wanting to be and wondering who they wanted to be. Sorry, it was a little hard to read there, but sounds like a cute little short. He gave it a 93 out of 100, so one of the higher rated shorts he's given in a while. And then Kevin's movie was Scary Movie 3, which is kind of funny because we just went and saw the new Scary Movie, unfortunately, last week. But Kevin gave this one an 85 out of 100. No written review at the time of this live stream, so unfortunately I can't give any notes, but it does seem like he really enjoyed this one, giving an 85 out of 100 compared to, I think he gave the new one like a 15 or maybe a 20 or something. So I don't know what that says, but it says something. Alrighty. And my wheel spin short this week was Puss Gets the Boot, which is the first Tom and Jerry short. So that made it feel something pretty special. Tom actually looks, he's called Jasper in this one, but it is Tom. It looks very scary in terms of his design, but I think it works. It's the original. It's the start, it's the beginning, but it doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel unpolished or amateur. Like, it doesn't feel like their first attempt at this. It feels like a later short, which I really enjoyed. I do think that it misses some of the violent acts that happen in the later ones, which I really enjoy from Tom and Jerry. This one was more so just like a typical animated short, and then Tom gets the boot afterward. It's got a stereotype in it, but it's not as bad or as glaringly obvious as other shorts. So I did enjoy this one. I did give it an 80 out of 100. And lastly, my film from the wheel spin was Man on Fire from 2004. This was a Tony Scott movie with Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning, excuse me. And I think this is a great story of redemption that is held back by a couple of things. Number one is the style of this movie, and it is apocalyptically terrible. It has that early 2000s like music video commercial style to it with like the slow motion and like the high frame rate or whatever. It looks terrible, and I get that like some people are saying that this it's a style, and at least it's not watered down like other movies. No, this movie looks terrible, and we need to stop saying that it is like intentionally whatever. It's bad looking. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. Also, I think this movie is far too long, and I think it's poorly paced. I think that it gets more than boring at a few points during this movie, and I do think it could have used some trimming. Probably could have cut off about 20 minutes or so. But the performance of this movie and the story are what made me like it as much as I did. I think that Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning are both really good in their roles, and I think they have a really good chemistry together as like a bodyguard guardian figure and the client's daughter, right? I think that they're really good together. Particularly Denzel Washington and his arc is something really exciting to see in this movie, and that's because the script and the story is really something special. Really enjoyed watching that. The movie's fine. It's just not as great as I was expecting it to be. So I gave it a 72 out of 100. But that is going to be it for all of the stuff we watched as a part of the wheel spin. So hopefully, that kind of covers all our bases. But we had some comments that have come in. Is Disclosure Day better than his War of the Worlds? I think it depends. I think that I gave War of the Worlds a higher score than Disclosure Day, not by much. I think I gave War of the Worlds an 80 compared to a 76 for Disclosure Day. I think that they're better each of them are good for different reasons. I really like the darkness and that kind of post 9/11 feel that War of the Worlds has to it, whereas Disclosure Day really feels like his kind of better drama films like The Post and kind of other espionage thrillers combined with an alien movie. So if you didn't like War of the Worlds, I think you might like Disclosure Day better, but it's kind of hard to say. I would say I would rather watch War of the Worlds again than I would watch Disclosure Day, but that's like not by much. I don't know if that makes any sense. And what up from Kevin? What up, sir? Hopefully I did you justice by sharing your opinions on stuff today. But good to see you. Hopefully work's not treating you too bad. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and do the wheel spin stuff. So let me go ahead and share the screen. Excuse me. But go ahead, if you have any suggestions, let's go ahead and get them in now. Pardon me, I'm hiccuping. We'll add them to the wheel. Give it about 2 minutes or so, and then we'll spin. Excuse me. Alrighty. Big Green from 1995, says Joey. Also, Joey, who do you think is gonna? I know you're a football guy. Who do you think is gonna win the World Cup right now? Who's your pick to win? Who's your dark horse? That's what I'm curious about. Right now, I'm kind of, from what I've seen, I think Germany is going to do pretty good this year again, but who knows? Dark horse, though? I don't know, man. Some of those African and Middle Eastern nations are doing pretty good. But anyhow, so we got Big Green on the list. Any other suggestions? Go ahead and get them in now. But to be fair, Germany did play against Curacao, which I don't know how strong of a team they are. We'll see when it comes to the other games. We're still in the first games of the whole thing. Alrighty. About 30 seconds or so more. I think there's a game on now, but alrighty. Alrighty. Well, that is going to be it. So let's go ahead. We're going to save the wheel. We'll go to the wheel of shorts real quick. Shuffle it up, and we're going to get Kevin's short first. I will see Kevin later tonight for our movie club episode once he's off work, so I'll let him know what these are, and also appears he's watching. Back from the front is Kevin's short this week. Alrighty. So we got back from the front. And then I will put my initial on there. Shuffle it up. And my shorts. Too soon to tell a lot of tie games. Yeah, a lot of great games. All of them have been really fun to watch, which has been nice. We aren't favorites, so I'm saying USA. I mean, I hope USA loses. One Caps family. I'm watching Kevin's this week. But yeah, I don't want us to win just because I don't want I want Trump to look bad. But yeah, Japan. I'm always rooting for Japan. Japan, I think, has the best looking outfits this year, best jerseys, and then I think they also have the best World Cup theme. Otto's song is what should be the World Cup theme anyway. Obviously, she's not an American artist, but man, it's so good. It's such a good song. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and think you're going to France, though? I hope not. I want it to be like an African country this year or a Middle Eastern one. I want someone different to win. All right. Wheel of Movies. Let's go ahead and spin it up, and we're going to get Kevin's movie. Kevin's film this week is... Well, Kevin can't pick for himself, so we're going to reshuffle. Alrighty. What will it be? I think it might be my pick for Kevin. And it's my pick for Kevin. And Kevin, I think it's time. Kevin, I think it is time. Kevin, I'm making you watch The Human Centipede. I can't just pick classic movies for you all the time. I got to pick one that might gross you out. Alrighty. Kevin's movie is going to be The Human Centipede because it's my choice. And we'll go ahead and spin it for me. And my movie is Batman Under the Red Hood, which I have seen before, but I have not reviewed, so I will cover. Alrighty. So, yep. Sorry, bud. But I've been holding on to that one for like 2 months now. So, alrighty. Let me go ahead and close this out real quick. So, Kevin will be watching the short film back from the front, excuse me, and then the Human Centipede as his full film. For my short, it's gonna be One Cab's Family, followed by the animated film Batman Under the Red Hood. So that is gonna be my pick. Joey says, I want USA to win, or at least to get far. Trump is going to take credit for ending this World Cup. I mean, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think USA has a chance to go far. We did really well in our first game, even though one of the goals was an own goal. I do think we have a chance to go far. I'm thinking maybe at least the knockout stages or whatever. Who knows? I want like an African or Middle Eastern team to do well. I think that, Morocco is a team you have to watch. Ghana, I think, is going to do really good, especially after that game they played today. I don't know. I'm always rooting for Japan, though. So I'd love to see Japan win. But anyhow, that's going to be it for this week's live stream. Of course, we have our movie club episode coming up on Friday. We're going to be we're continuing our coverage of the Venice Film Festival Best Picture winners, and we're going to be taking a look at the movie Nomadland, which we're going to be reviewing on Movie Club this Friday. And then, of course, we have this live stream every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Usually Kevin's here too, but he had to work tonight because of a work emergency. So hope you're doing well, Kevin. Hope everything's fine over there. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week. And until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen. Have a good one, everyone.